take us through it, how the coronavirus has hit you. And I thought a good way to frame this was to tell me where you were creatively before it hit to where you are now.
Sure. Before everything hit, I was planning to move down to Brighton, which is where I am now, which is on the south coast of England, with an incredible fringe festival. It's the best one in England. So I had taken some time off because I was doing, as all artists do, I was doing some day jobs as well to try and fund shows and fund my creativity. I wanted to write my next show, which is my third show, called An Education We Didn't Have. And I also wanted to, I thought I would have the luxury of, you know, when you move house and sometimes it's a case of, you just pack everything in boxes and move it down and then you don't sort it and you just put it in another cupboard. I had a study that just had so many projects on the go, and I literally went through everything to sort it all out. My next show, my stand-up comedy I want to do, a TV documentary I want to write, a film I've started writing, and then some other projects, like horse breeding I'm terribly interested in, and my best friend breeds amazing show jumpers over in Madrid, so all my research and training in that, in horse whispering. So I literally went through and everything is sorted and organised and recycled, and I went to the charity shop and I felt really... You know how they say sometimes if you are tidy, you feel like a tidy mind and you feel able to then sit down and create. So I felt like that. There was a lot of amazing opportunities open at the beginning of the year for writers and new shows. There's the Verity Bargate that was open, which is attached to the Soho Theatre. The Soho is one of the best venues in the world, I think, but it's a fringe venue in London that a lot of shows start in before they go to Edinburgh. We know big names like Fleabag and those sort of things will start, but also it's where you want to transfer after you've finished Edinburgh. A few other theatres, the Fimbra, were looking at new work, and then obviously it was time to move house, and I was extremely grateful because it forced me to be focused. I couldn't go anywhere, and no distractions, because of course I was really looking forward to the Brighton Fringe and the festival, which happens at the beginning of May to the beginning of June, and I normally see 4 or 5 shows a day. I've got some of my best friends from university down here, and some other really great friends, and we always hang out and have a great time, and the restaurants are second to none here, so we always go out for dinner. And then there's, my artist friends who are playing, and I'll always buy them a drink and chat to them and catch up. So, it was not going to be a quiet month. And what it meant was I just had this luxury of focused time to write. And so I finished on the 4th of May. I put it down, and then I sent it to some friends to read. And you know what, Jim? It's such a luxury, because I think so many people, when the festivals come round, obviously, you're asked to write your little blurb about what your show's about. And I really do think the majority of us haven't written the show before we write the blurb. So it's always just this vague, it's a story of a woman in love and she's exploring life, and it's just all a bit vague. And I think what a lot of people have now had is, because Edinburgh Fringe, Edinburgh might be going, there might be digital events and people live streaming from home now, which is very exciting, but it's not going to be obviously the same. But some people won't be doing the show, so they'll have had time to put a show down, is what I've realised in my little creative life so far in writing shows, and actually send it out to some friends. One who's in the industry who really knows what they're talking about, particularly with new writing, maybe another actor, and then also someone, a friend or family member that would just be your normal audience member that would come in and go, what is this about? Or I have no idea what you're talking about this, or that's really in-house as a theatre maker. So the luxury of being able to put it down, and then things percolate, and then suddenly there's a race course up here in Brighton. I go for long walks by the sea and everything. And then suddenly I go, what about if I put that in it? Or, actually, suddenly I think your subconscious has got time to piece things together, that when you're in that sort of juggernaut racing towards a festival, and you normally are self-producing, and obviously the writing is the most important thing to get right, but sometimes because you're so, the writing can't improve unless you improve it, and your performance is only as good as the writing. So both times I've been writing, and then I don't give myself, the actress, enough time to then pick it up as the actress and go, right, what are we talking about here? Very different hats. And so I end up even doing script changes in previews and then stumbling through, a couple of, particularly where you've edited or you haven't edited chunks, you've edited lines. So you're sort of coming up on your monologue all cut, and then you're like, whoa, I've cut a line here today, and it's just a bit, you sort of stagger through it. And then also, I think a lot of people in lockdown, they've had the chance to plan their career. They've had the chance to upskill. I did a 21-day self-tape challenge with Puro Casting, Manuel Puro, who's an amazing casting director here. And it was self-taping because I've done mainly theatre for the last few years. I haven't been so much involved in film and television casting, or commercial. So self-taping to me was quite scary. God, how do you do it? The technical aspect of it all. What backdrop do you use? What lighting? What microphone? And he just did the most incredible. He takes on lots of actors from around the world. If anyone's watching this, I highly recommend it. And you all give each other feedback, and you do a monologue a day. And it also gives you that, get a casting, you just got to do it overnight, try and do it within 24 hours, 48 hours, and do your best. So there's that, which I feel a real achievement. And, 21 days solid, normally in normal life, we'd all have other responsibilities, whether it's, a day job or popping out to do voiceovers or, just being distracted by, best friend's birthday or something like that. And the other thing that's happened, I think, really in the industry is obviously casting directors, actors, directors, work just was really busy, and then work suddenly wasn't. And there's been some collectives here, online casting sites like Spotlight, Mandy, and a few others, and a creative initiative. They've started doing webinars with lots of casting directors in animation or film or theatre. And these people have actually, I'm sure they would have wanted to have done it before, but they've had the time to not give back to the community, because they were always, giving back in their work, but they had time to help actors and creators define what they're looking for, and confidence as well. A lot of people, I guess, have felt they're outside the community and the industry if they're not working. And particularly some of these casting directors were saying things like, we love new faces. We love it if you've been a lawyer all your life and then suddenly you want to be an actor, and if you've got the skills, of course we'll look at you. Whereas that person might not take that chance because they think, well, what am I going to know about acting against all these people who've been acting for years, or people who've had a family coming back and they don't feel as confident, they've got a new look and all this sort of thing. So I think it's done a world of good for a lot of creatives. And then finally, there's been a lot of initiatives, monologue writing initiatives and competitions, all based around lockdown. And so that's been, great deadlines for people to write about their experience, which is obviously really interesting. Journaling, I guess, a form of journaling, and then getting it out how you're feeling is obviously really helpful. And then putting it into creativity can just make you feel just a new person. And I think that's probably been incredibly helpful for a lot of people. And then obviously people have then been putting the work online, and casting directors, as I say, have then got the time to watch it. And, people behind the scenes are starting to create work. So obviously you listen to all the news, and it's the most disturbing thing a lot of us have ever been through. But I've just been lucky that I've been able to just watch a certain amount and then understand what's going on, and then have my creativity to focus on. Voiceovers, luckily, hasn't been affected. In actual fact, a lot of people have wanted more voiceovers because a lot of companies have had to change their messaging. And so a lot of people are looking for voiceover artists with their own home studio. And there's home studios and home studios. You know, it depends on what sort of level your clients need your quality to be. And I've been doing voiceovers for 17 years now, and had an agent in London for just over 10. So I've got some wonderful clients. Currently I'm the voice of Clarins and Cadbury Heroes and a few things like that. And so mine needs to be broadcast quality. And I've been looking into having my own home studio, which is going to be here, which is why it's a bit of a bare room, because I'm waiting for it to arrive in a couple of days. And I'm getting one of the studio bricks, amazing, slightly build it like Lego. And I should then be able to have my own little business, which is huge step creatively for me, and empower my life to then, hopefully I won't have to do other sorts of work just to bring in money to do my shows. You know, hopefully I will just be able to be self-sufficient with my voiceovers, and it doesn't take too much time. Obviously, the getting the clients and talking to the clients and looking after them and the marketing and the invoicing, that sort of thing, when you run a business, VAT returns, is full on, but great to be learning all that sort of business acumen as well. So for me, it's just been the biggest change of my life, Jim. It's been a huge opportunity. And I'm very, very grateful for my parents who sort of are helping me put up the money for my studio, and then I'm going to be paying them back 25% when I get jobs.